Hey guys, I already finished filming this video and then realized I forgot to tell you something. So I'm putting this at the very beginning before we really get into this. We're doing part one, looking at the new speed machines from Car Culture today. Tomorrow, well before the Super Bowl, I promise, will be part two where we'll look at the older speed machines and I'm going to rank the top 10. And then next week, next Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific, I'm going to be giving some speed machines away on Whatnot. We've done a few of these Whatnot giveaways, Hot Wheels ID, some of the Lamley Award winners, that sort of thing, one-hit wonders. You guys have loved it. I have loved doing the giveaways. So we're going to give away some of the original speed machines. This McLaren is going to be one of them. Another one will be this Porsche Carrera GT. I've got a few lined up to give away. You have to be watching and you have to be signed up, and there's a link in the description for you to be signed up for that. But it will be 9 a.m. Pacific next Saturday. What's the date on that? That'll be the February 18th. You're on. That's what you need. You need to be signed up. You need to be following. You need to be watching, and you can win. We're going to give away a lot of them. It's going to be a blast. All right, on with the video. Hello, everybody. This is a Lamley Showcase. Actually, a preview of sorts. This is going to be in two parts. It's all about Hot Wheels speed machines, old and new. We've got them. Mattel sent over the container set, which I showed on a short, and we're going to open those up and actually look at the models. We're going to compare them to a couple of the older speed machines, and then in part two, we're going to dig into these older speed machines. I don't have the entire collection, but I'll show what I have, and I'm going to pick a top 10, the 10 best models from the original, we'll call them in quotes, speed machines. More on that later. So let's get right to it. I said I've got old and new. New is what we're going to focus on. This is the Chase. At least I have this carded so you can at least see what the art looks like. I'm not going to open this one yet. Once I get the carded set, I'll put this one with it and open it all up at once. But we're going to look at the models today, so that will just be a secondary showcase. But the art, the Speed Machines art, is very similar to the original. Actually, I'm going to move this one for a second. I'm going to go to a more, that one had that Keys of Speed promotion on it. Here's what it looked like prior to in the older speed machines. It's actually kind of interesting because on this one, the card sizes changed over time. There was a card size for international markets, a card size for US markets. We'll talk a little bit more about the speed machines in the second part, but this was a line that started out kind of strong. It was most welcome to have supercars in the line. This was with these plastic cold-mold wheels. We'll talk about those. And it just kind of petered out, and eventually Mattel killed it. I think probably because, like all things, Walmart didn't want to sell it anymore. But there's always been, over the last 10, 11 years, kind of a clamoring to see the speed machines return, and Hot Wheels has done just that. So we're going to look at these models. I'm going to move this off to the side. We are going to compare the wheels because there's been a lot of talk about the wheels on these, and we will go ahead and do it. This is the Porsche 911 GT3 Chase version. I'll just put that off to the side right now. And let's take a look at the set. I'm not really showing the container set to show the container set. I'm really focused on the models, but these container sets have been kind of mixed response, right, from people. Some people really like them. I like them. It's kind of nice to have essentially the loose models, and they are continuing them, obviously, for 2023. Speed Machines is the first Car Culture mix of 2023. You can see it's marked in Car Culture. There's all of the information on the back. There's that. I don't think it'll be relevant now, but it might be later. But yeah, the container set they had, so we can actually showcase the models. Here's the box for the container set. I think you can buy these at like Target online. Hobby dealers will have them eventually, so on and so forth. We'll move that off to the side. And let's take a look at this. I'm going to just pop this open, and there's what the models look like. You know, I've never, with all these container sets, I've actually never taken them out. So we're just going to see what happens. And I might have to like break away to do it. I have no idea. In fact, let's do that. Okay, I figured it out. You really need to kind of take the front door off, and then this slides right out easily. So that's kind of nice. Then you just pop the door back in. I can tell by these notches here, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. So we'll move the container set out of the way. This, well, like essentially flips right open, and you don't want cars to fall on the ground. So I know you're not seeing this here. There you go. And we'll just take these out, and I'll put them back later. All right, that is done. Now let's get on with the speed machines. In fact, I'll just keep the camera down here like this. Let's talk. I'm just going to kind of throw these. I forget what order they're in. But let's talk about the line itself, the return of the Speed Machines. Now, a few things about the original Speed Machines. And I think the best thing to do, since we've got a Ford GT here, is to show you using this Ford GT what we got here. They were basically basic cars with the cold mold wheels. So they had plastic bases, plastic chassis. But anyway, it's just a basic model. The thing that's different about these, obviously, is the cold mold wheels. The cold mold wheels were originally developed for the Acceleracers line. If I had an Acceleracer, I would show it to you. I don't have them, but they eventually took those wheels and moved them over to a special line they did called Ferrari Racers. These sometimes had plastic chassis, sometimes had metal chassis, but they took a bunch of Ferraris, released them in the United States and in Europe, I believe, maybe in some other markets, with these cold mold wheels. The wheels are plastic. They're two-piece, so it's like they're essentially, I think they call them CM6 because of the 6 spokes. Plastic tires and then plastic rims, but they definitely had a sports car look to them. Sorry for the shadow here. But you can see it's kind of cool. They had definitely had a sports car look, and they basically used those to put them on a bunch of Ferraris for the Ferrari Racers, and then they moved them over. They killed the Ferrari Racer line, and then they moved them over to the Speed Machines line and released these in the special packaging, which I've shown. And, and it was all sports cars, a whole myriad, and we'll talk about those when we do part 2. But the wheels were plastic. They were made to be fast, right? To run on the track. And I've always liked these wheels. Gosh, the shadow is bad. We'll just do it like that in the shadow. They looked really good. But yeah, obviously they're gone because they've returned. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself. The big talk about the Speed Machines, of course, was here they are. They are premium model, but are the wheels plastic? Now, I have talked in the past, bring back the cold mold rims, but put real rider tires on them. I thought that would be really cool. Well, they did bring back the cold mold wheels. In fact, these were designed for this line, and I guess they didn't have the mold for the cold mold wheels anymore, or at least the design. So they brought them back. Now, what makes these premium? Well, all the models have metal chassis, of course. They have the cold mold wheels that were developed for the line, but they have plastic tires. So I've heard from some of you, and we'll do some comparing and contrast here. I've heard from some of you, like, how can you call this premium when they have plastic tires? All right, I'll get on my soapbox for a second. It's totally fine. Would it have been cool with real rider tires? Of course it would. I would have liked to see real rider tires with the cold mold rims. But at the same time, they said they were bringing back the Speed Machines, so they brought back the Speed Machines. And they brought back the wheels that the Speed Machines use. They are the proper Speed Machine cold mold wheels. So I don't think we can argue with that point. Now, some of you have said, are they going to charge the same price? Yes, they are. That's another one that it's like, I'm going to roll my eyes a little bit to that because there's so much that goes into that price. What are they about now? $6, $6.50 now? That's a lot of money, but if you're buying it if you're spending that much money just because the the tires are rubber, I'm going to have to say that's probably not the best use of your money. We're buying these for many reasons. Obviously, the metal chassis and the rubber tires and the extra deco makes them premium. There's a packaging element to it because they do the larger packaging. But it's more about the development. I know that a lot of the car culture lines have leaked for 2023, and have you seen the sheer amount of new castings that are coming out? That cost goes into the development of all those new castings, all that licensing, all of that stuff is what makes these models $6.50. Now, some of you might argue with me, but that's just the reality. It's not because the real rider tires are probably a fraction of a cent, like maybe 0.003 cents more expensive to produce, but that's not why they're $6.50, and I don't think we should expect them to be less than that. Now, if you don't like these, I respect that. I'm totally fine. If you don't think that it's cool that they didn't do rubber tires on these, I can't argue with that point. Because you expect rubber tires. I totally get that. For me, I would have loved to see them develop a rubber tire, but then someone might argue, well, these aren't Speed Machine wheels either. So I get both sides of this. I just know that it's really cool to see the Speed Machines back. It has a bit of a heritage element to it. And let's go from there. All right, off my soapbox, let's compare the wheels. I'm going to try and do it this way. I've got the original Ford GT. They used a Ford GT in the original Speed Machines, and then I have the new Ford GT. Let's get these compared. They look essentially the same. It looks like there might be a new notch that they're using on the new wheel. You can see that notch on the outer ring of the rim. It does look like the spokes are about the same. Phil Reelman designed these. I don't know if he designed the original, but he came back and he designed these Speed Machine wheels for the new Speed Machines line. I don't see much difference. It looks like they really tried to replicate it. I mean, on the short side or on the small ones, I think it's about the same as well. Maybe just a little bit more detail in the new one, and maybe a little bit of a wider tire. It seems like they fit the wheel wells about the same, so maybe it's a little bit of a thicker tire on the new one, right? Okay, let's take a look at the models, and then we'll do part two. We'll start. I don't have them in order, so let's see. Maybe I can based on this. There is no new casting in this, but there are new castings that have moved to premium. I believe this one has been premium. The 4GT has been premium. Maybe the Veneno. I don't know. Maybe that's been actually all. I think the only one is the Porsche 911 GT3 and the Pagani Zonda. They were both released last year as basics, as basic new models, and now we've got them. Let's start with the Lamborghini Aventador. It is interesting to have a Speed Machines model that has this much weight. I've had Speed Machines in my collection for a long time. So it is kind of funny to see them this heavy, but they are. In red, comb-mold wheels. It has the kind of Italian flag details on the side, which I think all the Venenos do. Did I say Aventador on this? I meant Veneno. I apologize for that. But nice to see this one in premium with, like, they have the Veneno on the center wing, that center kind of spoiler part of the wing. Details in the back all around, fully detailed car, which is kind of nice. I'm trying to remember if I think the Veneno has been in premium before, maybe in entertainment, but I can't remember because I'm not real fond of the car. But it's nice to see this one, and it obviously goes into the collection. Next one, let's talk about that 4GT. We've already done it. 4GT, we saw 3 versions. There's that first one in green in that kind of teal color, number 6. Secondly, we have this black version, which I really like, with the gold trim and the gold rims, chrome lipped rims as well, which is kind of cool. And then now we basically have a third version in white. This was originally the Ford GT LM casting, and was it the Le Mans casting? You know, from the what was that? What would you call this? The second generation Ford GT? I'm not sure. The previous generation Ford GT is probably appropriate. But looks really good, obviously in a standard 4GT deco, racing deco, with the number 4 roundel where it should be, right? On the sides, on the doors, on the back to the offset, and then, of course, in the middle on the hood. All the details are really cool on that one. Next one. This, I think, was made premium for Fast and Furious, wasn't it? This is the McLaren 720S. I didn't like this casting as a basic because I think it needed more details in the back, but when it gets details like this one does, it looks a lot better. And I definitely liked it as a premium, and I definitely like it with these wheels. My one complaint, to be honest, when you look at the Ford GT-LM, which was an original Speed Machines, I think there's an opportunity lost here, because this McLaren 720 is very nice. It makes sense as a Speed Machines model, but I would have liked to have seen maybe another F1 GTR. And I mean, there were already 4 of these. Where are they? Let's see. If you look, whoop, right up there, 1, 2, 3, 4. It would have been nice if they did a 5th. I think that would have made more sense, to be honest. But they did it with the Ford GT-LM, so that's kind of nice. So that's a nice car. Next one, let's go to the Pagani Zonda. So this was released in basic last year. We've already seen the new release this year, so 2 different versions in basic. Now we have the Speed Machines version. And like anything that moves from basic to premium, it's nice to see the full deco. It's got the wraparound deco from the sides to the back. It's got the Zonda R deco on the sides, headlights, tail lights, details on the spoiler. This is just a great casting. To be honest, I like the 10 spokes on this one. I will be interested to see this, and obviously now that they have the metal chassis, they can put real riders on it. I'm sure we'll see this again in Car Culture or some other mix in premium. But it looks really good with these cold wheels. I think it's a very, very nice model. And lastly, this was one of my favorite basics from last year. It is the Porsche 911 GT3. If you remember, it was released in blue and then recolored in black. That matte black was the best basic model last year, and I think one of the best basics that have been done in terms of realism in a long time. And here we go It gets the 60th anniversary deco on it, so it's kind of blue fading to black, kind of alternating into black on the backside. So this is, I think this might be based on an actual anniversary edition of this car, or they're just putting the 60th anniversary kind of color scheme on it. And the cool thing about this one, I love the gold rims on this one. It looks really, really good. Obviously has the metal chassis, so I'm excited to see this one go premium like the previous GT3 did for entertainment, if you remember. I'd like to see this one stay in basic and be a super treasure and all that too, of course. And then lastly, while we will not open it yet, it is the chase. So you can see all of the deco there now gone gray and black, which is really, really cool to see. So I like that they're bringing back the chases, and I think this one will be a real fun one to fun to watch all these develop. But I think this will be really cool. Yeah, I'm just looking right here. I can pull out, like, is this this is the GT2, so you can actually put the GT3 and the GT2 together, which looks kind of nice. Kind of cool. I mean, lots of cool ways you can combine this. So I'm going to obviously add this to my car culture collection. I could make some space and just add it to the speed machines. I assume there's going to be we're going to see these wheels show up elsewhere. Maybe they could show up in basic. Maybe we'll see future mixes of the speed machines as well. Considering they redeveloped this wheel for this line, I would imagine we'll see more mixes of the speed machines. That would be really cool. You guys tell me what you think about these. I would definitely like your opinions on the wheels. I will not fight any opinion on this. If you don't like that they're plastic, I get it. I just don't think the idea that the cost needs to be cheaper makes any sense. But if you don't like it, I'm totally cool with that. You guys tell me what you think. Thanks, everybody. Part 2 tomorrow. Bye.